Hi gang, it's Hexy here. Hex to Hex playing some GOSS. So, it's only taken me like a week to play one full game turn, right? And this, I'm learning as I go. I'm getting a lot of help from a lot of sharp people on the rules for this thing. And I figure I need about 3 or 4 turns before I feel like I'm going to be completely competent with this game. All right. So right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. I've only played one turn. This is a super system. Super, 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 super. Lots of details. And sometimes you look at the rules and you think, well, why are we doing that way? And then after you do, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So they really, really accounted well for lots of possibilities in World War II combat. Mechanized, on the leg, artillery, air, whatever. Air is going to be, I think, the hardest one for me to ever to accomplish. But I wanted to at least get an update on this game. I don't, like I said, I'm learning. If I say something that sounds instructional, it's more of me thinking, all right, if I got it wrong, somebody's going to hear it, and somebody will help me. Or maybe it actually helps somebody else out there. I hope it does. So, supply, really no supply issues, but I guess the only basic thing I can tell you about supply is, in general, for general supply, source to Army headquarters to Corps headquarters to formation headquarters, which are usually divisions, and then the formation headquarters down to the units. And you use a movement point system, which is depending on the headquarters or the unit type. You got Mech class, which can be 18 movement points, which, it covers a long ways. I mean, I got a headquarters unit sitting like way, way over there somewhere that's German, but he can reach all the ones over here. And I think like leg class is like 12 movement points. And of course, you're using your roads, which, by the way, these red roads, keep your headquarters on those things. That's your best bet, to use those supply routes. Really nobody in supply trouble. Well, as far as getting general supply, getting your beans in, getting water to the guys and stuff like that. That's pretty much covers all that. But it is important because you go out of supply and then your units are in trouble. All right, so you don't necessarily in this game, in a game turn, you don't grab a whole lot of ground. I mean, you can. I did the exploitation thing, and the thing about exploitation is units in exploitation can use half their movement on. So you have 2 exploitation opportunities during a game turn. You have one when you're the inactive player as a response thing, and then you have one when you're the active player during the phase or the segment or the game turn. And they can only move half their movement allowance, okay? And then you got other things like, whether you're low fuel, whether you're no fuel, whether you're normal or not. So my 3rd Armored guys were all in normal status. So most of your mechanized units have a movement of 12. I think some Germans have some that are like 14. So you're going to get to use 6 and then 6 movement points. And, and of course, I've done a couple of overruns. I did another one on this past, on the inactive turn for the Allies, right here through an engineer unit that was successful and destroyed the engineer unit. The thing I wasn't doing at first was the replacement losses, recycle losses. The Hurtgen rules, they listed as optional. And then the newer rules, I don't think it says optional. The 2020 rules, I don't think it says optional. So, because you've got a replacement table in Hurtgen sitting right there, and I had to do some reading about, you can mix both. You can use that, and you can use the recycle losses stuff. So those units right there, those 4 gray units, I think it was a total of 5 steps that were lost, and so 4 infantry and 1 armor. So those markers there, and I got to read about that. I know I watched Clay and Steve do it, and the Germans have to get so many before they can replace a tank step or something like that. So, but I haven't gotten to that yet. I'll get to that. So I just want to kind of talk about how this went. So 9th Armored got a little spread going here. You got these 2 exploit units over here that have pushed. They're pushing into the outer regions of the west wall there, which I figured they're gonna have to come out of exploit. I got a feeling. Although the Americans do get the next turn, so who knows? We'll see. And then over here they exploit. And remember, exploit, 1 unit can do the exploit. And with special stacking, you might have a company underneath him. So you're not going to have a big old stack of units in there under the stacking restrictions doing an overrun. I'm sorry. 1 unit can do an overrun. You have, because units move individually. Special stacking, like you got that company unit attached to that battalion, they can move as 1. All right. So I exploited here, took an engineer out, overrun here, did an engineer unit out, and used exploit to move these 2 guys a little farther forward. Artillery, fire support missions, active player, when the phase comes up, he does his air missions. Then the defender does fire support missions, which is the artillery, and then the active player does his. And the active player, obviously the one that's moving. And then it gets reversed when you flip over to the other side to go through the sequence. So there was some artillery fire here. The Germans don't have a boatload, and I'm learning quickly about artillery that firing these little 3 strength or 4 strength artillery units, you got to have a great die roll. You got to have 7, 8, or 9, and then hope the target doesn't get a bunch of shifts, like for armor and stuff like that. So the German artillery didn't do nothing. A couple of them went ammo depleted. One over there. There's one over there. This one here never came back when they did their replenishment. I did spend points, which I could have done it for the Americans this time, but I did spend points. I think I spent 1 point for the German, and I think if you spend 1 ammo point, you can replenish 3 units. But you don't get the option all the time to spend points. Like the active player can spend ammo points, or he can roll during his phase of the replenishment. The inactive player can spend points, ammo points, to replenish. He can't roll. And then, of course, it flips. So, all right, so the Americans are pushing up the road here from Eupen towards Aachen. They're trying to break through here. The Germans don't have a lot. They did get 4 pool draws that are moving forward. And they got the Stug reinforcement. He's only a 1-stepper. So they're already pretty weak here. So if the 1st Infantry, and I'm still debating what to do with 9th, whether I want to help the drive on Aachen or whether I need to send them over to screen this mess off over here in the 89th and the 353rd Divisions area. I got time, so I'll work through that one eventually. But it's slow. I would have to say the line of advance for this turn was probably like this far. All right, but this is actually pretty good progression here because that's a big kind of gap right there, a big hole right there. And they have taken out some units. And then over here, but the Germans were able to respond with these units that were sitting on the 2nd line of the west wall here. All right, so it is very meticulous. It's very slow. I'm hoping, the German part of this phase. I tell you what, I spent 2 nights spent 2 nights trying to figure out what mode to put the German units in, and then actually moving a unit. And finally, sometime last night, I moved my 1st unit, and that was that Stug, and then I stopped. I was in such shock that I moved a unit that I stopped. So, and it's not so much about knowing how to do it. It was looking at the situation, figuring out, oh my God, am I going to set up some attacks? And I kept thinking about what the massive German armor I had sitting here attacking this CCA unit, but there's no way. He's got I think 13 points of defense in there, and I had to put 3 stacks in there and prepared assault. And I had it. I could have done it, but it wasn't going to be great odds. So I decided, no, the Germans are probably going to play, if I had to guess, they're probably going to play this fallback game initially, maybe to the roar. I don't know. I need to stare at the victory conditions a little harder, see if I want to give up that much ground. I'm going to say current line of defense for the moment is okay, except for down in here. There's really nothing. I mean, yeah, you can put them through the vantage points and some of the terrain, but they're so thin down through here. But no, it's funny. You look at this game and you see, oh, that's just 1 unit. I got like 3 or 4 stacks here. Well, those odds don't always come out to be the best. So you really got to think through these things. But I'm eventually thinking it'll be west wall. Right now, it could go west wall here in front of Aachen. along this streamline going back over towards the MERS. All right. Eventually, it's probably going to be west wall this way with the roar behind them. And then depending on how hard the Americans push and the Brits when they get on, the next line would be the roar. You've also got the option for the Germans to release the gates on the dams, the floodgates, to flood all the area down here somewhere. You can't see it, but it's over that way somewhere. Okay. So yeah, meticulous, slow. I like it. I'm going to learn this. I'm not going to master it. Maybe at my level, I'm going to master it. But I want to learn how to play the system because, like I said, there's 4 great games, and I believe there's a 5th one on the way. And I hear rumor of East Front stuff that Joe would like to do that. So we'll see. All right, but this is Hurtgen Hell's Forest. It's only taken me a little more than a week to play 1 full game turn. That's just the end game turn of the first day of the fight. And there's 4 phases in each game turn. All right, let's get this up so you can at least see what's going on. Maybe just take a quick view of the map here. You know, nothing up there. Trying to build some improved positions, which you know what? I got to check that because some of those will get flipped that have engineers in them. You have certain combination of units that when they're building, it can happen within the same turn. Some of them take 1 game turn, but I think I have a couple of those that need to flip. Like I think a 2-step engineer unit. And then the line turns this way, and you see where the Americans are already breaking through here. And then the exploit units here below, south of Aachen. And then you've got this, I don't know if these are training units, I can't remember now, but they're moving forward up here. Trying to move into the forward west wall positions to slow down the Americans. And like I said, I got to see what's going to happen here. Because if I decide to send 9th Infantry down this way to screen these German units so they don't get in behind 3rd Armored. And 3rd Armored, 1st, 2nd, 3rd Armored has some restrictions too on I think it's like the first 3 turns or something like that. I have to look that rule up. All right, not a whole lot. The Germans' reinforcements, they do get some quite. I already have them stacked by their turns, but I'm using the sheet that I have, the updated scenario rules for the campaign game with the nice reinforcement chart to make sure I get everything. And then they've got, like I say, they got their replacement pools, so do the Americans. And then they got replacement points, all right? So 1 complete cycle through the sequence of play. I think the only places where I probably struggle and go slow is air, through the air. Doing the ammo and fuel delivery, which obviously that wasn't bad because I didn't do any ammo delivery with the trucks. I need to get a better grip on the trucks and how to properly use them. So if anybody's got any tips on the trucks, put it in there somewhere. Let me know. Give me some suggestions on how to properly use them each turn. And that's about it for now. I'm sure I'm going to have a ton more questions as I go through this, but we'll stop that right there and let you all at least see what's going on. Like I say, if you got one of these, get it out. Get the rules out. Start looking at it. I'm finding this is one of those games, you talk about a lot of games where put some counters on the board and move them around with the rules. This is definitely one of those games. Don't just try to read these rules and think you're going to understand it. You need to get counters on the game because the guys that wrote this, guys or gals, whatever, they really went deep in this system. And the maps are gorgeous anyhow. So, and I like the counters too. All right, let's get this up so y'all can see what's going on. Talk to you soon.